The Eagle Academy for Young Men is beating the odds when it comes to students of color with a graduation rate of almost 90% compared to the national rate of just under 60%. Well, now a network of 6 schools incorporating parental involvement, academic rigor, mentoring, and even activism has proven a key to its success. In fact, the Eagle Academy Foundation has become a national model for academic excellence and social development. Joining us is President and CEO of the Eagle Academy Foundation, David C. Banks. So nice to see you again.
It's a pleasure to see you again as well, Sandra.
I saw you, I can't even remember where we were, a few weeks ago, and I was like, we got to have you on the show soon. And I think Trey, the producer, had already worked it out.
Yes.
You're already here.
Thank you.
You have to be proud of what you have been able to build with your partners in this, and I guess even more so proud of the young men that have come through the Eagle Academy.
I'm very proud. You know, when we created the Eagle Academy back in 2004, it was the first all-boys public high school in New York City in more than 30 years, and the only all-boys public high school in the country at that time. And, you know, it wasn't easy to figure out how to create a school that would really meet the needs of black and brown boys, where we realized that so many of them are facing so many difficult challenges, trauma in their lives, gangs in the neighborhood, confrontations with the police. But we have beat the odds. We've figured out how to make it work and how to help these young men to become successful.
So what is it that you're doing that others that are trying to educate these young men aren't getting right?
I think it's a belief system that we have, and there's a formula that we've kind of figured out around how you get young men to believe in themselves and to work really hard toward their own excellence. So I'll tell you a couple of things that we do. First of all, we have a level of professional development and training for our teachers. Most teachers across America have never received one day of training of what it means to most positively impact boys in the classroom. Boys and girls can be a little different. The energy can be a little different. Yeah. Anybody that has sons and daughters, they know. But unfortunately, our school system treats everybody like it's a one-size-that-fits-all, and that doesn't work. We engage our mentors, men from the community who get involved. We have after-school programs that really allow young men to be able to engage in other kinds of activities as well. And then we engage our parents in a very significant way. So it's all of these pieces, they're almost like pieces to a puzzle, that when they all work together, they work to the benefit of all of our young men.
Yeah, and besides the numbers, I think proof of how successful this model has been is that you've got this what do you call it, a set of schools.
Yes.
You've got six schools.
Yes.
And the is kind of becoming a model for people outside this area.
Well, you know, we created the original school in the Bronx, and then from there, the demand across the city was so significant that we created an Eagle Academy in every borough in New York. Cory Booker was the mayor in Newark, New Jersey several years ago. He asked us to go to Newark. So we now have 6 schools, 3,000 young men, and over 1,500 graduates who've gone on to colleges and universities across the country. We've been asked to replicate this model all across the nation, but we realize that if you really want to bring this work to scale, a brick-and-mortar approach is not the way to do it. You can't just say every year you build one more school someplace else. You will never really be able to impact enough students doing it that way. So now we've launched what we call the Eagle Institute, and that work enables us to train schools and school districts across the nation in how to do this work. Even if it's a co-ed school where teachers are struggling to figure out how do we best engage these young men, and we're teaching them those strategies. We launched an effort really through the support of the Brooklyn Borough President, Eric Adams, which helped us to be able to work with 9 middle schools in Brooklyn. And we've given them some of the best professional development and training that they've ever received over a 3-year period. And now they've instituted practices that not only help them to engage their young men better, but really all of their students across the board.
Yeah, and I mean, look, obviously you're a model of what is working, so it makes sense that somebody else would want a piece of that.
That's right.
Figure out how it could maybe work in their situation. They're also, you know, it's not just about what's in the classroom every day. I love the fact that you've got all these other things going on. One of the things you did last fall was the male college.
College fair, yeah. We launched for the last several years an all-male college fair, and just this past fall was really the biggest one that we've had. And when I say all-male college fair, literally, we brought over 3,000 young men, not just the boys that go to the Eagle Academy, but young men across schools around New York City. And the reason that is so important, we had over 100 colleges and universities who came from across the country to join us in support of young men, to give them an opportunity to make application to colleges and universities across the country. The reason why that's a big deal is because we often in our schools talk to our young people about going to college. Most of them have never had any real interactions with college reps. They've never visited college campuses. And you've got to make those things real for young men. And the college campuses are also looking to diversify their campuses. And the one demographic that is the least represented on all college campuses across America are black and brown boys.
It has to also make these young men feel special, that they are seen and that they matter. Absolutely.
And in a world that they're growing up in where they feel very often that they're under assault. Sometimes the teachers just don't have the highest expectations. They're afraid of the police on the streets. They're afraid of things that are happening in the neighborhood. Many of them are growing up without fathers at home. It's a real challenge to grow up as a young man in the inner city. And so they come to a place where, we tell them we see you, we love you, we respect you, we have high expectations, we want the best from you. And that's like a comforting notion for all of them.
And I also think you want to rise to the level of those expectations when somebody says, I know that you can do more, you can be more.
Absolutely.
And I know there's a program, something that you're working on, your partnership with Scholastic. I know it's really important to you. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so the book publishing company Scholastic came to me to say, listen, we recognize the excellence and the work that you've done at Eagle Academy. We would like to help create a new library called Rising Voices. It's a book collection, the most unique book collection in the country, where we have over 300 books where young men of color, young men and men of color, are the protagonists in all of the books. And over 85% of the authors and illustrators are people of color as well. And it's so powerful because young people get to see themselves and young men get to see their stories. And the stories range from, Martin Luther King III, who wrote a story about his father from the perspective of being a little boy, and not just the legendary Dr. King, to DJ Kool Herc in the beginnings of hip-hop in the Bronx. It runs the full gamut, and we find that it's really exciting, and the books are being purchased all over the country. I'm really excited to be a part of it.
Okay, and we are excited to have you on here. I love talking to you because you're always so positive, and I think that Eagle Academy, the track record there, I think says it all.
Thank you so much, Sandra. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.